Imagine a land of dramatic contrasts, a rugged, rocky coastline battered by the relentless Atlantic, giving way to vast forests of pine and oak, their needles and leaves carpeting a soil less yielding than other parts of the continent. Sparkling lakes and swiftly flowing rivers carve through a landscape of rolling hills and small mountains. This is New England, a region defined by its unique geography. Located in the northeastern corner of North America, the New England colonies faced distinct environmental challenges and opportunities compared to their neighbors. To the south lay the Middle Colonies, with their fertile farmlands and diverse populations, while further south were the Southern Colonies, known for their plantation agriculture and warmer climate. New England's shorter growing season and less fertile soil would profoundly shape its development. The climate of New England was characterized by harsh, long winters, with heavy snowfall and short growing seasons. Spring arrived as a welcome but brief respite, leading into warm summers that were often humid. The vibrant colors of autumn signaled the rapid approach of winter once more. This demanding climate required resilience and resourcefulness from its inhabitants. Into this challenging yet captivating land came a people driven by a powerful force: faith. What if the first blueprint for American self-governance wasn't drafted in a stately hall, but conceived by desperate souls, clinging to survival on a storm-ravaged vessel? And what if the pursuit of knowledge was intertwined with a fervent desire to combat perceived evil? This is the story of a new society, forged in the crucible of religious conviction and the demanding realities of a new world. This is New England. The seeds of New England were sown in the soil of religious dissent in England. The ruling monarchy insisted on religious conformity within the Church of England. However, growing numbers of people, including the separatists, who believed separation was the only path, and the Puritans, who sought to reform the church from within, found its doctrines and practices deeply flawed, according to their interpretation of Scripture. These dissenting groups emphasize a direct relationship with God through personal Bible study and prayer, and they criticized what they saw as the lingering Catholic influences within the Anglican Church. Their beliefs, emphasizing individual conscience and a more austere form of worship, put them at odds with the established religious and political order. This led to increasing persecution, fines, imprisonment, and a growing sense that they could not freely practice their faith in their homeland.
The storm has driven us far off course. We were bound for Virginia, but these winds have pushed us north of its territory. Our patent from the Virginia Company may be invalid here. And the strangers among us, those not seeking religious freedom, are questioning our authority. They argue that since our charter doesn't apply here, none had power to command them.
Faced with the looming threat of anarchy and the potential collapse of their venture, the Pilgrim leaders, recognizing the need for order and unity, took a bold and unprecedented step. They conceived a document that would lay the foundation for self-governance in their new community, the Mayflower Compact.
Friends, we find ourselves in uncharted territory, both geographically and legally. To ensure the survival and well-being of our colony, we must, solemnly and mutually in the presence of God and one of another, covenant and combine ourselves together into a civil body politic. We will create our own just and equal laws, ordinances, acts, constitutions, and offices, as shall be thought most meet and convenient for the general good of the colony, unto which we promise all due submission and obedience.
The harsh reality of the New England winter descended upon the newly arrived settlers. Ill-prepared for the climate and facing dwindling supplies, they endured immense suffering. Disease and starvation ravaged their numbers. That first winter, known as the starving time, claimed the lives of nearly half the Mayflower's passengers, a stark testament to the unforgiving environment. Against all odds, a fragile lifeline of hope emerged. The indigenous Wampanoag people, who had long inhabited this land, extended a hand of crucial assistance. Notably, a Patuxet man named Tisquantum, or Squanto, who had learned English, acted as an invaluable interpreter and guide. He taught the Pilgrims vital survival skills: how to cultivate the native corn, beans, and squash, how to fish and hunt in the local environment, and how to enrich the poor soil with fish fertilizer. This crucial alliance, born of necessity and guided by compassion, proved essential to the struggling colony's survival. The initial success of Plymouth, however precarious, attracted further attention from those seeking religious freedom and economic opportunity in England. 10 years after the Pilgrims' arrival, a far more substantial wave of Puritan migration began. A well-organized fleet of 11 ships carried over 1,000 settlers, along with livestock and ample supplies, in what became known as the Great Migration. Leading this ambitious venture was John Winthrop, a charismatic and deeply devout lawyer who envisioned the Massachusetts Bay Colony as more than just a refuge. He articulated a profound religious and social ideal, a vision of a righteous society.
For we must consider that we shall be as a city upon a hill. The eyes of all people are upon us. If we shall deal falsely with our God in this work we have undertaken, and so cause him to withdraw his present help from us, we shall be made a story and a byword through the world.
The Massachusetts Bay Colony was founded on the principles of Puritan belief, leading to the establishment of a theocracy where religious doctrine heavily influenced government and daily life. The Puritans believed in the importance of individual Bible study as a path to understanding God's will. To ensure literacy and combat what they perceived as Satan's influence, they prioritized education, establishing the first public school in the colonies, the Boston Latin School, in 1635. Just a year later, they founded Harvard College, intended to train ministers and educate future leaders according to Puritan ideals.
Roger Williams, you stand accused of spreading dangerous and seditious opinions. You have questioned the validity of the King's Charter to grant Native American lands, and you have boldly asserted that the civil government has no authority to enforce matters of religious conscience. Such beliefs threaten the very foundation of our godly society.
Forced worship stinks in God's nostrils. True faith cannot be coerced. There must be a clear and impenetrable wall of separation between the garden of the church and the wilderness of the world. The civil power should govern earthly matters, while the spiritual realm belongs solely to God and the individual conscience.
Banished from Massachusetts for his dissenting views on religious liberty and the rights of Native Americans, Roger Williams sought refuge among the Narragansett people. Displaying remarkable respect and understanding, he peacefully purchased land from them and in 1636 founded the colony of Rhode Island. Unlike the strict theocracy of Massachusetts, Rhode Island became a beacon of religious toleration, explicitly guaranteeing freedom of conscience and allowing individuals of all faiths, including Jews and Quakers, to worship according to their own beliefs. Its government was founded on the principle of the consent of the governed, extending beyond church membership. The spirit of independent thought continued to challenge the rigid structures of Massachusetts Bay. Anne Hutchinson, a charismatic and intelligent woman, began holding religious meetings in her home, attracting large numbers of followers, including influential members of the community. She espoused controversial theological views, emphasizing the idea of direct revelation from God and questioning the necessity of ministerial interpretation. Her teachings, deemed heretical by the Puritan leadership, threatened their authority and social order. Accused of sedition and heresy for undermining the authority of the clergy and disrupting the peace of the colony, Anne Hutchinson was brought before the General Court in a dramatic trial. Despite her sharp intellect and extensive knowledge of Scripture, she was ultimately found guilty and banished from Massachusetts in 1638. Like Roger Williams, she sought refuge in Rhode Island, further contributing to its reputation as a haven for dissenters.
Reverend Hooker, the magistrates in Massachusetts insist on limiting voting rights to church members. Why must we undertake this difficult journey into the wilderness?
Because the foundation of authority is laid in the free consent of the governed. Now, the privilege of choosing magistrates belongs to the people. It is not safe nor warranted that the power to make laws or choose officers should be limited to those who are members of the church. All men who have a real and permanent interest in the community should have a voice in its governance.
Driven by a desire for greater political participation and more democratic principles, Reverend Thomas Hooker led his congregation westward in 1636, settling the area that would become Connecticut. In 1639, the representatives of these new settlements gathered and drafted a groundbreaking document, the Fundamental Orders of Connecticut. This remarkable document stands as a pivotal moment in the development of American democracy. Unlike any charter granted by the king, the Fundamental Orders was a written constitution created by the people themselves. It established a representative assembly elected by a broader electorate than in Massachusetts, and it outlined the structure and powers of the government of Connecticut without any reference to the authority of the English monarchy. It is considered by many historians to be the first written constitution in America, a testament to the growing desire for self-governance in New England. While religious ideals were a primary driving force behind the founding of many New England colonies, the pursuit of economic opportunity also played a significant role. The colony of New Hampshire, for instance, developed with a greater focus on resource extraction, capitalizing on its abundant fishing grounds and vast timber reserves. The challenging geography and climate of New England limited the potential for large-scale agriculture compared to the middle and southern colonies. As a result, New Englanders increasingly turned to the sea for their livelihoods. The cold, nutrient-rich waters of the Atlantic teemed with cod and other valuable fish, fueling a thriving fishing industry. The region's extensive forests provided the timber necessary for shipbuilding, and skilled New England artisans became renowned for crafting durable and seaworthy vessels. The lucrative, albeit dangerous, whaling industry provided valuable whale oil for lamps and other products, further solidifying the maritime foundation of the New England economy. Life in Puritan New England was governed by a strict moral code rooted in their religious beliefs. Laws regulated nearly every aspect of daily life, from church attendance to personal conduct. Activities deemed sinful or disruptive to the community, such as missing church services, public displays of affection on the Sabbath, drunkenness, or even idleness, were met with public scrutiny and punishment. These punishments ranged from fines and public humiliation in the stocks or pillory to the wearing of identifying letters signifying transgressions. Even speech was carefully monitored. Lying, gossiping, or speaking out against religious or civil authority could result in physical punishments like the cleft stick being used to silence the offender. The Puritans believed in maintaining social order and religious purity through strict enforcement of their laws, creating a society that could appear both intensely devout and surprisingly censorious to outsiders. The colonists' unwavering belief in their divinely ordained mission and their growing need for land inevitably led to conflict with the Native American tribes who had inhabited the region for millennia. The Pequot War of 1637 stands as a stark and brutal example of this collision of cultures and ambitions. Driven by territorial disputes and escalating tensions, colonial militias, often allied with other native tribes like the Narragansett and Mohegan, launched a devastating attack on a major Pequot village near the Mystic River. The attack resulted in the horrific Mystic Massacre, where hundreds of Pequot men, women, and children were killed, many burned alive in their fortified village. The sheer scale and brutality of the massacre shocked even some of the participants and had a profound and lasting impact on the relationship between the colonists and Native American populations, establishing a grim pattern of violence and dispossession. King Philip's War was characterized by immense brutality and loss on both sides. Native American warriors attacked colonial settlements, and colonial forces retaliated with equal ferocity, often targeting non-combatants. Homes were burned, families were torn apart, and the landscape of New England bore the scars of this intense and protracted conflict. The war ultimately resulted in a decisive victory for the colonists, but at a tremendous cost, forever altering the demographics and the relationship between European settlers and Native Americans in the region. In their fervent pursuit of religious purity and a new social order, the early settlers of New England inadvertently laid the groundwork for fundamental principles that would shape the future of a new nation. Driven by the necessity for order aboard a drifting ship, they crafted the Mayflower Compact, a groundbreaking agreement for self-governance. Later, fueled by a desire for greater political participation, they conceived the Fundamental Orders of Connecticut, a written constitution that limited government power and expanded the rights of the people. Harsh and devout, at times intolerant, yet undeniably innovative, the New England colonies were a complex paradox, a society built upon strict religious doctrines that, through the struggles for religious freedom and the pursuit of self-governance, inadvertently planted the enduring seeds of American democracy and a burgeoning capitalist spirit. This was their story, a testament to the intertwined forces of faith and fortune in the shaping of a new world. Join us next time as we explore the diverse and dynamic Middle Colonies, a region where different cultures and faiths intertwined to create a unique American experience.